Hello, Internet. This is a response to 2Be Serious regarding her video entitled, How Should We Live? In your video, you discuss the future world views of Aldous Huxley in Brave New World and George Orwell in 1984. Huxley sees us becoming a complacent society of reality-ignorant consumer whores, striving for meaningless distraction and capable of only saying yes and signing our checkbooks. While Orwell sees us as being oppressed and controlled by the government using pain, fear, and propaganda. Indeed, how should we live? The two extremes are quite polarized, but I wouldn't exactly call them opposites. Both deal with distracting and numbing the minds of their followers, with either satiation or obedience. The crazy part of the observations that these two books represent is that it's all a part of our makeup as people. It's all a part of our human nature. It's frightening to see we have societies in the world today that clearly outline the ramifications of systems who exist with excesses of material abundance or power. There can and should be a third option, in my opinion. I mean, what about personal growth and education? Having a society of well-educated, rational people. What could be wrong with that? Why do we always see ourselves as exemplifying the most undesirable and base traits of humanity? I'm not happy at all about the possibility of falling into either of the futures you presented. There are a series of wonderful worldwide subcultural movements that could not have arisen without the level of personal communication and information gathering the internet provides. There are skeptical/rationalist movements, and the more granola DIY/maker movements that are finally giving people the means and the voice necessary to carve out a completely new type of social existence. Not only are we exchanging ideas and improving on our own knowledge at an ever-increasing rate, we're also capable of advancing our own technology, improving upon what's come before and creating things completely anew. I'm saying that everybody is a part of this new trend, to some degree, regardless of race, country, culture, or creed. The main contributors are adding to the conversation because of their passion and seemingly limitless curiosity. All it takes is one person to ask a very simple question, and the whole world is broken open. Finally, this is truly a media format of the people, for the people. There are many ways to make it about monetary gains, but for the most part, the people I'm talking about are contributing to it because of the sense of community it provides and the wealth of knowledge that's gathered as a result. It's going to be very difficult to create and maintain the stagnant worlds pictured by these two great authors, because the whole planet is becoming integrated. There are a few people in every group, who I like to call the cognitive minority, that will not rest until they have opened the eyes of all the people around them. That moment of understanding that flashes across our fellow human's face is what they live for. As for Brave New World Revisited, I'm not sure Huxley got it right. For every moment of distraction, there's an equal moment of opportunity to educate. Ultimately, in this day and age, it's really hard to find good commercial edutainment that isn't serving a particular agenda. But it does exist out there. Nova Science is still as thought-provoking as ever, even with government subsidy cuts. The people who crave it are just paying more for it. Where Huxley claims the rationalists underestimated the general population's appetite for distraction, he fails to recognize people's appetite for truth, or at least scandal. There are still ways for the rationalists' message to get noticed. We just have to be surgical in our timing, to make sure the seeds of critical thinking are planted right when the audience is primed. Corporations are wonderfully good at exploiting our base psychologies. There is no reason to believe any group couldn't wield that exact same power. It just takes a little bit of thought. All throughout history, people have found ways to discover and disseminate the truth. I shudder to imagine a world where I lack the untethered freedom to explore my interests. But to some extent, depending on something as trivial as my geographic location, I'm probably living in that world right now. We aren't that far removed from the sociological satire and words of caution these books provide. But were I living in that world, I would still risk my life to explore, and I refuse to think that kind of curiosity and courage is uncommon. Now I realize that populations are made of people who like to shake things up, and people who like to play it safe. The trick is to find a system that's flexible enough to allow for both to thrive. In my honest opinion, I don't think we've found a successful model for that yet, but we're getting really close.